Okay, so basically there's both symbolism on the right side of the master. It's on the chair. You can't really see it, but this is the picture I'm referring to. It's on page 119. We're gonna have to go through that, go over that. You know, the guy in the middle, who's the main master, he's bowing to directly. He has a low red back on his chair. This could be symbolic of the height. You know, the smaller people, the peon, you know, the peasant, the ant, and so on. So the the potential battle master is bowing to these people. And let's just keep going, right? There's a lot of symbolism there that proves my point in that picture I've just shown you. Okay, so this takes us, okay, we're on page 119. The exotic weapons specialist, okay. They also have a double-bladed saber and lightsaber pike. Force-strengthened quarterstaff can resist lightsaber strikes, and this has everything to do with, you know, the magic wand, the stick fighting from the tree of life, which is the life in the martial arts system, versus the tree of knowledge, which is a magic wand, and they're kind of trying to meet halfway with this sort of earth, you know, worldly perspective. Gaia, Anna, Mother Earth, right? This kind of female spirit, psyche, the female spirit, which is said to be the female soul, rather, said to be the soul of the person, which implies a female spirit, and then where you get the Statue of Liberty and so on and so forth. Okay. Of course, Virgin Mary and baby Horus, and baby Jesus. All right, so the weapons include whips, flails, ranged weapons. Jedi snipers throw the lightsabers. This brings us to page 120. The martial arts of Bakuni are brought up. Okay, so some Jedis use their bodies as weapons. The martial artists of Bakuni hand employ the force to strengthen their hands. So you say flat out, you know, there's a direct reference to martial arts here. Okay, so, you know, they're putting in a way that confuses you about what martial arts are. They make you think that martial arts is about actual fighting, when it is actually this entire system that they're talking about, weapons, right? You look at Kung Fu, right? You also have whips. You have various weapons that are similar to this, various ranged weapons and so on. So to think that, you know, what they're trying to mislead you into thinking is correct takes an idiot. All right, so we go... at least after I've pointed out the difference. So we go on to there's wordplay in the Bakani, right? Ba, ka, in, e, I. Okay, ba, ka, on, e. The ba is the soul, the ka is the spirit. Okay, and of course they have it in the e, the gender neutral, everybody, equal, right? Evil, right? Because there's no equality. If you say everyone's equal, you're cheating some people out of their rightful place, and there's always going to be one person elevated above the rest, and that goes back to the Sith philosophy. They put it very plainly that the Emperor wants to make everybody feel like they're equal, and he manipulates the things from the background. So once you kind of combine the two philosophies and you do the wordplay and read between the lines, you see that what they're doing here and that both sides are evil, and that's Western culture in general. Problem solution, controlled opposition, Hegelian principle, Hegelian dialectic, meeting halfway between two evils with half-truths mixed in to accomplish the goal. Anyway, so we talk about, okay, a blow from a Bakani master can pulverize stone. So it leads us to the Jedi consular, okay. Con, soul, or, okay, role is nuke. They're basically saying, if you don't let us con everybody, we're going to nuke everything. And there's a very key part with the Jedi's manipulation, the Sith's manipulation system, which has everything to do with why that's not good enough. People should be ready to let their planet be destroyed rather than to conform to this great evil that allows for 800,000 kids to go missing every year, all these rapes and murders, 60 million preventable deaths or so every year, things that are unforgivably preventable, like soap, people not having soap or clean water. I mean, it's just absolutely repugnant. It is absolutely disgraceful to exist in this world without plotting to overthrow the corporate elite. It is absolutely repugnant. And controlled opposition, pretending you don't see through controlled opposition, is even worse, right? The wolf in sheep's clothes is more of a danger, more of a threat than the wolf who's too stupid to put on the sheep's clothes. Okay, moving on. All right. The High Council reports to the Supreme Council, the Reconciliation Council that often works with the Republic Diplomatic Corps. The most advanced are given the title of Sage Master. Okay. Greatest healers, seers, greatest healers, seers, and prophets have all come from within these ranks. Okay, and they do things like affect mind or telekinesis, and they're also said to be outstanding fighters. Okay, so over here is the Sage Master. If you didn't connect this to witchcraft and Western kind of myth and lore and elves and vampires and sorcerers and warlocks, on some level, if you didn't see that there's some connection, you're pretty delusional, right? It's kind of like we've had cartoon after cartoon, movie after movie, series after series about these things. It's very much a part of Western culture. It's very much a part of the obscured, hidden, occult aspects of Western culture. Okay, moving on. So even the word reconciliation has the word con in it. It also has the word counsel in it. So re, counsel, I-A, shun. Okay? And there's other wordplay there. We don't have time. Moving on. Okay, so, okay. The green lightsaber is in the counselor's hand at the beginning. It's a woman. Okay? And of course, you think about, they're saying about the greatest healers and prophets, seers and prophets have all come from within our ranks. Now think about how significant seers and prophets are. It's pretty straightforward that they have a kind of Eastern kind of feminist philosophy. When we look at, one way to look at it is the Eastern philosophy is more favorable to women taking over than the Western philosophy, which has Christianity, which was a kind of agreement between men and women that divided their natural roles in a way, in a system that would allow them to have great say, women using their pussy power and other kind of manipulating things while men are at work, men doing things a certain way. That's why feminism is not egalitarianism or equality, it is feminism. It favors the female. I think it's stupid not to see it that way. I think it's insane to think that women are taking on women's issues instead of addressing issues like the 60 million preventable deaths in the world and other issues as their main issue if they weren't selfish, right? Why would you focus on women's power in society first and foremost when there's 60 million preventable deaths, when religion is all bullshit other than my religion, okay? Why wouldn't you do that? Why would you do that? Okay. Obviously, they're selfish. Obviously, is to put the female above everything else. Obviously, they're indifferent. Obviously, occultists run mainstream feminism. That's why it's gender feminism. The Baphomet is gender neutral. We can go on, but I got to get through this. Anyway, so the Force binds space and time, visions from past and future. They have empathetic talent, okay? The Jedi healers have masters and knights, unlike the medical corps. The Jedi diplomat is a lore keeper. The Jedi Sentinel, Sun in L, balance between Consular and Guardian. They have the yellow saber. Okay. All right. So basically, we've got through this. We're on, about one page 126. Okay. Here's the Jedi Sentinel. He's holding the yellow sail. Yellow saber. Obviously, he has a set perspective mixed with a con horror perspective. I think it's one way to look at it, where he emphasizes the con horror a little bit more, where the Sith emphasize the set a little bit more. I think that's a good way to explain. Anyway, so we move on to slicers, hackers, tech experts, page 127. Meku Duru, make you day die ra, or ad e shu, or chi. Shu is the deity of atmosphere, of light, basically a fake deity of light. Any deity that is not Ra or Horus is basically a false idea. Okay, you'll be hard pressed to find a true idea. When we look at these other ideas, especially we look at Neith or something, there is no, you have to dig deeply there. You have to dig deeply there to find if there's something worth finding. Narmer did take the high priestess, I believe, of Neith's cult as a wife. It could have been a mistake, maybe it wasn't. One way or another, we look at women's role, they're better off shooting arrows than in close combat. Okay, and this could very well be why this is. And you think about archers in popular culture, they're elves, they kind of have a feminine spirit. Anyway, moving on. Security experts, secure at E, exports. Okay, no L, hat, A tall on. Okay. I wonder where I got, that has something to do with the wordplay in the security experts place. Well, I don't have time to explore that. Let's just keep going. Okay, that wordplay is incorporated here somehow. Jedi shows open. Okay, we'll move on. Okay, page 128. And there's a lot of notes to go through, and 21 pages of notes, all the other stuff I'm doing. I'm reading the Sith book at the same time. It doesn't take a genius to see that between the drugging and the harassment and the stalking and the technology and all the stuff they're doing. I literally have 5 videos where I was so pissed off that I was going to skip through all this stuff, and I was just telling people why they're not worth saving, and I was right to do that, even though I was angry. Perhaps I was a little bit too harsh. Perhaps it wasn't strategic or tactical, but I was correct about the things I was saying. Okay, page 128. Moral relativist trash. Okay, when I was reading page 128, I couldn't help but start to be upset about this thing. Okay. Jedi shadows prize the mission above all else and often make moral compromises that would be unpleasant for other members of the order. I don't believe in doing that. I don't believe in moral compromises. I don't believe in prioritizing taking over the earth. I believe in following a moral code, being the light, and if the time has come, the time has come. Okay, put everything on the table, no being conniving. That really is a main reason why they're on some bitch shit. Okay, that they're willing to bend themselves over, they're willing to let their kids be plugged, and I don't agree with that. Anyway, page 129, alter abilities. Okay. And of course, that's the stage for the disaster. Once you finally see the bigger picture, you see that that's part of what they do. They get a lot of people who otherwise would have been more decent people to compromise themselves in the name of a cause, and it's a false cause. And this is exactly the Emperor's plan. I feel like stopping right here and moving to the Sith book because in many ways it's more significant. This is just the controlled opposition trash you should have seen through a mile away, like the liberals and the conservatives that pretend to be more for the people. Moving on. Like a conspiracy theorist and so on. So we get to 129, the alter abilities, right? While they're talking about alter abilities, they say, but without alter, you are like a mud limpet, perceiving your world but incapable of touching it. So they're basically saying you're like a black person, right? The mud people, that's one name, a derogatory term for black people. And that, they're basically playing the roles of black people. At the same time saying, if you start to kind of figure that out and you're a black mason or something and you think that you're cool, don't forget that you are nothing in this world. Okay. Kind of brings credence to the idea that Jesus was black, saying his kingdom is not of this world. All right, so moving on. They talk about telekinesis and affect mind. Okay, telekinesis and affect mind. We have schizoaffective disorder in psychiatry. So why would these people do things in a way that would lead people to be drugged by big pharma and make them rich? Obviously, it's controlled opposition bitch shit. I mean, there's an abundance of evidence. There's no way around it. There's something called alter environment. Lightning, hailstorm, crushing waves. There's a water pitcher. Think about the tsunami, I believe, in the Philippines and so on. The advanced force techniques, battle, meditation, confusion, fear, and allies gain the advantage, right? They do little bitch shit to give their allies the advantage. Combustion causes objects to explode. Art of the small, view the universe on a molecular scale. I kid you not, it is called The Art of the Small on page 131. Okay, they do all kinds of little subtle things like that to give away who, what, when, where, how, why. When we think about the majority of people are more described as, are best described as smaller than people who are tall. Okay, they talk about the doppelganger. You'll see a lot of people, if you look carefully on the internet, that look like other people. They're kind of, you see people who try to emulate succubus and so on, succubi and so on. I'm way behind, so let's just keep shooting through this. Force, phantom or of oneself. Force storm, hyperspace wormhole to destroy the world. Loss of control, Sith force techniques. Okay, so they do the force, one second here. Force. Well, let's see. We're at the end of this anyway. Let's just finish this thing. State of Terror, page 134. Deadly sight. Fury and hatred harassed, blister skin, and what's this say? Vaporous. Damn, I'm gonna have to go over this at the beginning of the next video. I wanted to get finish the last of these notes. Well, we'll get to the next video.